Hello friends, in this video, we are going to discover the top 5 countries people regret moving to in 2024. Moving to a new country is a significant life decision often driven by factors such as job opportunities, adventure, or a desire for a lifestyle change. However, not every relocation results in a positive experience, and many individuals find themselves regretting their decision according to a survey by popular online portals. 75% of individuals who moved for work in the last decade expressed dissatisfaction with their chosen country. The survey identified the most regretted destinations and the main reasons for expatriate discontent, highlighting the importance of careful planning and research before relocating for work. Counting down from number 5, eliciting the least level of regret to number 1 with the most level of regret. Here are the top 5 countries people regret moving to. Kindly make sure to hit the subscribe button and press the bell icon before we start this video about the 5 countries people regret moving to in 2024. Now let's dig deeper into each of the top 5 countries people regret moving to in 2024. Number 5, United States. Surprisingly, the United States lands with crime and racism being significant concerns for expatriates. While the U.S. is often seen as a land of opportunity, the realities of racial tensions and high crime rates in certain areas have left some regretting their decision to move. The cost of living in certain parts of America, particularly in major cities, can be notably high. Housing, education, and daily expenses may strain financial resources, making it essential for individuals and families to carefully plan their budget before considering a move. The United States is so huge, and there is a long distance between towns and cities. As most towns are laid out in blocks, owning a car is very useful for getting around. The U.S. does not have a national health service, so you will need to have private medical insurance. There is also no escaping that gun violence is a problem in the States and makes for familiar and depressing news stories. So whilst the U.S. has a poor international reputation in this regard, it does not affect the daily lives of many people. Unlike in the U.K. and other countries, sales taxes are not displayed on the shelf price, which can be in. When you first arrive and get a nasty surprise at the checkout, it is evident that America is one of the most astounding countries in the world, but of course, it's not perfect. Number 4, Mexico. Mexico takes the spot with expats expressing concerns about crime and cleanliness in certain areas. While Mexico offers an affordable cost of living, issues such as theft and pickpocketing, particularly in border towns, contribute to expat dissatisfaction. You will quickly learn this when you move to Mexico, and you will notice that you are being charged higher prices for things like rent, food, taxis, and general goods. One of the cons of living in Mexico, which might shock those coming from North America and Europe, is the high levels of police corruption. Bribes are the norm in Mexico, and if you are living here, sooner or later, you will encounter a corrupt police officer. That's just the Mexican way. The Global Peace Index releases a report listing the world's most dangerous and safe countries every year. Mexico placed 137th out of 163 countries, a slight increase from the previous year. It is also regarded as one of the least peaceful Latin American countries with high crime rates. The language barrier is one of the main things that could prove to be a deal breaker for those considering a move to Mexico. If you plan to live in expat communities, this might not be a big issue, but you need to know that according to this study, only 5% of Mexicans speak English. Number 3, Japan. Japan secures the 3rd spot, with Tokyo drawing mixed reviews from expats. Issues such as a lack of work-life balance, prevalent smoking in restaurants, and the use of squat toilets are frequently cited as sources of dissatisfaction. While Japan offers a unique cultural experience, some expats find it difficult to adapt to certain aspects of daily life. English proficiency is lower in Japan than in other industrial countries outside the Anglosphere, so finding someone who speaks fluent English is not so common. Japanese is a complex language that takes time and dedication to learn fluently. If you're not fluent in Japanese, day-to-day life can be frustrating, as communicating with locals might prove difficult. Adapting to Japanese culture and social norms can be challenging for foreigners. A key aspect of their way of life is maintaining harmony and avoiding confrontation, which sometimes translates into excessive politeness and an emphasis on nonverbal communication. Apart from that, hierarchical relationships are a crucial part of Japanese culture, particularly in professional settings. Work-life balance remains an elusive concept for most Japanese workers. Expect long hours and an intense dedication to the job, even if it takes a toll on your personal well-being. Many employees tend to stay late out of loyalty or not wanting to be seen leaving before their superiors. Number 2, Belarus. At number 2, Belarus emerges as an unexpected entry on the list. Expatriates, especially those from the U.S., report feeling unwelcome and isolated. Cultural differences and general disapproval of non-Belarusians contribute to expat regret if you enjoy winter. But the bitter cold is not your thing. You may want to give Belarus a skip. The country often plummets to temperatures below zero during the winter and often remains in these cold temperatures throughout the winter. English is also not widely spoken in Belarus. To get by in this country, you will need to speak Russian or Belarusian at the very least. That means that even getting the simplest of tasks completed may seem impossible, as you will not be able to communicate with anyone even in more metropolitan cities. Speaking English isn't very common. The country scored fairly low on both personal rights and freedom. There is little media freedom in Belarus, and you can't really have your political views expressed in this country. Belarus is the only country that still applies capital punishment. Number 1. Vietnam topping. The list is Vietnam, where expats appreciate the exquisite food, but struggle with issues of fraud, crime, and hygiene. Concerns about unhygienic food preparation and a lack of safety standards add a layer of discomfort to the otherwise attractive destination. While Vietnam is undoubtedly stunning, the truth about living in Vietnam is littering and pollution often takes away from its beauty. One of the biggest disadvantages of living in Vietnam, expats complain, is the pollution in large cities. The air quality in Vietnam is poor, and even before 20120, it wasn't unusual to see people walk around Hanoi with masks. Littering is another one of the bad things about Vietnam. Many natural sites are used as unofficial dumping grounds, and waves washing up plastic waste on Vietnam's beaches do not help the cause. Long-term expats in Vietnam often complain about the corruption in the country. It is fairly common in most developing countries. Expats reported being asked for a tip when crossing the border for visa extensions or stopped, and fined for made-up reasons when driving a scooter. There is so many problems like short return of money. Some people are shocked when some places in Vietnam return candies instead of cash. They feel cheated and scammed. Airport stolen checked luggage. So you just arrived in this lovely country and you found out that your checked baggage was opened and something was taken. Traffic accidents. According to the Traffic Police Department, in 2016, there were more than 21,000 traffic accidents and almost 9,000 people died. I'm sure it's an exciting experience for non-Vietnamese. There are not many road markers in Ho Chi Minh City, so crossing the road is quite scary. Taxi scams. Almost the same with the overpayments. Taxi scams are common in Vietnam, and they happen to everyone. The taxi driver will try to drive you around and around to charge more money. So which are your favorite countries among the top 10 countries people regret moving to in 2024? Well, that's all we have for you today. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the content of this video, click the subscribe button so you can receive more content like this. Post your favorite places among the top 10 countries people regret moving to in 2024 in the comments below. I'd love to read them, and I'm sure others would too.